on this date in history without talking about this Micah Parsons brouhaha. Started by one Ricky, the Twitter handle, infamous, famous, call it him, them, what you will. But he's been banging this drum for a bit. Had his latest update, I believe this was yesterday. The Packers have a trade on the table with the Cowboys, which I think we're kind of parsing things here. I think, it's been pretty blatantly put out there that Jerry Jones ain't listening to anything when it comes to attempts to trade for his star defensive player who they're having a pretty major contract stare down. But hey, I tell you what, it is all the rage on the internet. And I'll say, Ricky, point blank, man, you're going to wear the crown if this happens. But if it doesn't, I feel you. And I know what it's like because I put that thing out there a couple years ago about the Packers trying to trade for Darren Waller. And then that didn't happen. And then everyone told me I was making shit up. I was lying for clicks and blah, blah, blah. Oh, and then a year later, Adam Schefter confirmed that it actually happened. And then people would, oh, well, you had that earlier. I was like, yeah, I did, didn't I? So, Ricky, I feel you, man. I know what it's like to put yourself out there like this, although you're not really putting yourself out there.
No.
Because you're not giving your name. You're an anonymous account. So you're hedging a little bit.
It's actually the opposite of putting yourself out there.
But if you get it right, you're an absolute legend. There you go.
But what if he gets it right, but the terms are all different than what he said, so he just made it up? So.
Well, no. I mean, look, if they trade for Micah Parsons, Ricky wears the crown, man. That's an amazing, amazing scoop.
If we get Micah Parsons, do we win the Super Bowl or what?
Not automatically, obviously, but they become instant favorites. There's no doubt about that. 100%.
Does Micah Parsons get us like more than 2 sacks a game? Maybe sometimes, right?
It depends on the opponent. I don't know about 2 a game.
He at least gets us 1 a game, right?
Well,
for $45 million a year, is 1 a game?
You would hope. You would hope at least affecting the quarterback each and every down where they're dropping back, right? And I'm not talking like
they're thinking
the
about
3-step drop or quick outs to the wide receiver screen or some bullshit like that, right? Which is what
that's
teams
the
are going
thing
to do.
about him is you have to think about him. It's like when you're on defense, you have to think about Jordan
everything
Love,
changes.
But not everybody on offense has to think about the defensive player.
He changes the calculus. He absolutely changes how you approach the game as an offensive coordinator. He has to, right? Like you have to. Every single play in your game plan starts with, what are we doing about Parsons? Like legit. So yeah, he changes the calculus. Of that, there's little doubt. Now, what do you have to give up for him? We're talking probably multiple premium draft picks. There's been a lot of talk about multiple first-round picks, probably a young ascending player. I've seen Rashawn Gary thrown out there. I think they'd probably want Gary and probably somebody else, probably a wide receiver. So, man, it feels a little rich for my blood. But that's why you swing for the fences, if you want a game-changing type player.
But do you even remember the terms of the Reggie White deal? I don't.
Well, here's the thing. People keep mentioning this, right? Like the idea of, it would be as if or like akin to getting Reggie or getting Woodson or even like, Julius Peppers, which were all big-time acquisitions and did change the face of the defense each and every time, right? But I will also say each one of those were acquired in free agency.
Yeah.
They weren't giving up extra assets. Yeah. It's just which is what would make it so unpacker-like. But that said, Brian was in on Khalil Mack back in 2018. It came down between them and the Bears, So I think it's pretty clear that he's open to it and he would do it up to a point. He's got to have. He talked about it on Packer Transplants last year. You got to have a walk-away point where this is the value. This is where I set that value, and I will offer you what I think is fair value. But if you try and squeeze more out of me, I have a very hard line walk-away point, which is why I think how he would approach this type of thing. And I have no idea if he has or hasn't put an offer on the table, but certainly it's what all Packer fandom is talking about. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. I think he's going to remain with the Cowboys. I know it feels really poisonous between those two sides right now, but that's kind of just the Cowboy way.
That's business.
That's exactly. Hey everyone, we're Cheesehead TV, a sports media brand dedicated to Packers fans worldwide.
come hang out with us during our weekly watch party for every Packers game.
Or any of our live shows throughout the week during the season to connect with other Packers fans.
See you there.